Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Inshallah, we will start in just 3 or 4 minutes. We'll wait until 9 o'clock, bi'idhnillah. Inshallah, we'll be live in just a few minutes, bi'idhnillah. 3 to 4 minutes. We want to give time for people to come in, and we said we would start at 9 o'clock. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Inshallah, we will begin in just about 3 minutes. Assalamu alaikum wa barakatuh.
تأخرت اليوم يا أبا معاوية.
أنت وأنا.
أنا.
لا بأس، نبدأ بعد دقيقتين إن شاء الله.
إن شاء الله. We're live already?
نعم. Normally I play the video for
the countdown.
The countdown, but I said, inshallah, I don't know if that's right to have a 5-minute countdown like that, so I stopped.
Fair enough.
No, I got a new computer, man, because my other computer, wallahi, I'll take a picture after the class. The screen detached, my laptop, the screen detached from the body, and it's bowed out like this.
You had it in the car?
No, it's been in the house the whole time. I don't know what happened. SubhanAllah. It's been like that for a while, and then the fan started making some and it
was it
do
your
that.
Your what do you call it? Your Microsoft Touch thing. What do you call it?
Surface.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I bought a new one about, I don't know, maybe a month ago, but I just never transferred everything over. And I transferred it all over yesterday and today. And when I came back tonight to start the class up, it needed a whole lot of updates. It's been updating for the last half hour. So I said, alhamdulillah, I didn't delete anything off the old computer.
Alhamdulillah. Subhanallah. I left my work laptop like in the car for half an hour. And the batteries just inflated like balloons, very dangerous. Very dangerous to leave anything in the car which has got lithium in it, lithium batteries, like your phone or your charger or anything.
No.
Man, have you seen those batteries go? We had an issue at home with we got some cheap charger from one of the trade shows. They gave it to us for free. And we'd been using it for about 2 years. And subhanAllah, my son Sulaiman was using it for his phone. You plug it into the wall and let it charge, and then you can use it as a battery. But one day, I heard some screaming in the house, and Sulaiman was like, Dad. So I ran into the room, and it was like on fire on the wall. And the batteries inside had become white hot. They were white. I saw them. They melted out, fell on the floor. And I was like, man, I know these things are going to explode. I ran to the kitchen, grabbed a pan. I threw the pan on top of it. And literally 15 seconds afterwards, it went like massive bang, like huge flash of fire across the floor. You wouldn't believe it, man. These 2 little batteries like this. SubhanAllah, if I didn't have that pan on top, man, I don't know what. SubhanAllah.
Inshallah, it's 9 o'clock, but I have a serious story about these batteries too, inshallah, after the class.
Okay. I'm looking forward to that.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalam ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa ashabihi wa man wala. We welcome everyone back to a another series or another session in reading the Fatawa for the Muslim child. And we are going to conclude, inshallah ta'ala, today the chapter on belief. And some of the subjects that we're going to cover are amulets for suckling, superstitions regarding marriage and children, as well as a woman abandoning prayer due to the hardships of childbirth. As regular or as normal, we have with us Abu Yusuf, mashallah, Yusuf Abu Yusuf Abdurrahim al-Britani. He is with us here. You can find him on YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, and others. MashaAllah. Ahlan wa sahlan, ya Abu Yusuf.
Ahlan bik, ya Abu Muawiyah. Barakallahu feek. Thanks for having me again. I must be doing something right. Alhamdulillah.
MashaAllah. You after the fatwa of the ulama, you bring life to the show, MashaAllah.
Barakallahu feek. Barakallahu feek.
Without you, there'd be no show after the fatwa of the ulama, MashaAllah.
La. Barakallahu feek.
Nabda, inshallah. You want to read the question for us, inshallah?
Taban, Bismillah. So question number 16. Wow, we're already up to 16 questions, mashallah. A person writes amulets and he is an imam of a masjid. Is it permissible to pray behind him? For clarification, this person does not write these amulets as a practice of magic, but for small matters such as headaches for a newborn child, so that it may suckle and other such matters. I hope that you can clarify this issue, as there are scholars who maintain that such a person is a mushrik and it is not permissible to pray behind him.
SubhanAllah.
Looking forward to the answer to this one.
Inshallah, the permanent committee, Al-Lajnatu Da'ima, as we said, that committee is made up of the major scholars in Saudi Arabia. They are the ones who are allowed to give fatwa inside of the Mamlaka, and there's usually 4 or 5 of them taken from the bigger or wider committee of the Kibar al-Ulama. The Kibar al-Ulama are all those inside the Mamlaka who are allowed to give official fatwas. And even though there are other people that can answer questions, official fatwas related to legal matters and such are given by specific approved scholars, which it should be, mashallah, not just anyone and everyone answering. And then from those Kibar al-Ulama, there's the permanent committee, usually 4 or 5. And as we said at the time of this question, we had the likes of Sheikh bin Baz, Sheikh Bakr Abu Zaid, Sheikh Abdul Aziz al-Sheikh, and Allahu Alam, probably Sheikh Saleh al-Fawzan at that time as well. Anyway, they said, it is permissible to pray behind the one who writes amulets that consist of the Quran and legislated invocations, although it is not befitting that he should write them, as it is not permissible that they should be worn. Whereas if the amulets consist of shirk, then the one who writes them is not to be prayed behind, and it is obligatory to clarify to him that this is shirk. It is incumbent upon the one who has knowledge of this ruling to clarify it to him. May Allah bless and send peace upon our Prophet, his family, and his companions.
SubhanAllah.
That's it.
I think this one, I just urge everybody to read a good explanation of Kitab al-Tawheed, and then this whole issue of amulets and ta'weez and everything will become clear, inshallah. It's such an important book to read, subhanallah. What do you think?
No, I mean, there are a number of explanations of Kitab al-Tawheed translated. For example, Abdurrahman al-Sa'di's explanation is translated. For example, Sheikh Samih Stroch out of London, he has his own explanation. For example,
I've heard of that one.
Yeah, he's out of London. Samih Stroch. He went to school with Sheikh Falah. Sheikh Falah used to speak, rahimahullah, used to speak very highly of him.
mashallah.
Also, there is the explanation by Sheikh Uthaymeen, rahimahullah. The famous one by Al-Sheikh Fatul Majid is translated twice, although both translations are poor, and some of them even miss translating some of the explanation on some chapters. They just missed the whole chapter, the whole explanation. They just missed it. They repeated the text of the chapter without any explanation. However, there is still some benefit in them. I don't know if there to be any like major aqidah mistakes or anything, but there are some spelling and grammar and stuff like this. But there are a number of books out there. Those are ones that come to my mind, even though I have a few more on my shelf. I can't remember who the authors are exactly in English. And so I just stop at those. But Sa'di, Uthaymeen, Fatul Majid, which has some notes by Sheikh bin Baz, rahimahullah, Sam Stroach. And
I don't know about you, but what I prefer to do, but this is just my personal preference, is to, because I guess I'm an old-fashioned kind of a guy. I like to find a good like series, whoever it may be, whoever it is that's trusted and everything, to give this, to relate this information about Kitab al-Tawheed. I find like the MP3 files or the MP4 files, I download them all to my device, and I just listen to them, as a kind of an audio book. I just keep listening again and again. This is the way I listened to it the first time, and I found it so beneficial, because unless you can actually go and sit in a masjid with your books, and which is obviously the best way, that's probably for me the next best thing. I mean, that's the way I did it the first time. So maybe that's of use to someone.
Now I'm here. I put up on here a sunnah as-sahiha. If you were to type this in your search bar, a sunnah as-sahiha, then it will take you to a website which is called sunnah-as-sahiha.com or islamlecture.com. Here you will find the durus of Sheikh Abdurrauf al-Shakir, who is a graduate from Medina back in the 90s. And he's 71 years old now in New York. He was in Qatar for many years. This is probably the richest source in the English language for real classes. Now, there are many people who have a lot of short videos. Many people answer questions or give a quick fa'idah, but someone who has covered book after book after book.
See, I'm on the site now. He has Kitab al-Tawheed.
He has Kitab al-Tawheed, I believe, in 50 lessons.
55 lectures, yeah. MashaAllah. Very nice.
And he has not only the lesson, but he has a study guide for every lesson, for the notes that you should take and the things that you should write down inside of it to make sure that you're getting this information from each lesson.
MashaAllah.
Wallahi, there's no teacher in the English language, Allahu alam, like him.
MashaAllah.
And what reminded me of when I read this question, the answer, is how someone who may have been raised up, I don't want to say it in a mean way, but a little soft, a little quick to have their emotions or their feelings hurt. Maybe they get offended by the sharpness of this question. But as we read on, inshallah ta'ala, you will find that the ulama are the most merciful amongst the people. And that when there is room for disagreement, they allow us that disagreement. When there's room for this way or that way, they allow us this. However, when there is no room, then, they come swift and quick. The answer's not long. It's swift and it's quick to the point. This is the way it is. And not only is this the way it is incumbent upon the one who has knowledge of this ruling to clarify it to him. So when a young man came to the Prophet ﷺ and asked to commit zina, The Prophet ﷺ sat him down. Would you like this for your mother? Would you like this for your sister? Would you like this for your aunt? And neither do the Muslims like that for their mother or their sister or their aunt. When the man peed in the masjid, urinated in the masjid, the Prophet ﷺ sat him down. He explained what this is. He wasn't harsh with them. He wasn't any of that. Yet, when someone came to him and they said, MashaAllah wa shit, whatever Allah wills and you will. Hey, are you making me a partner with Allah? Taj'alani niddan lillah. Are you making me a partner with Allah? Bal qul inshallah wahda. Say that alone. You understand? When it came time to make us a that and what, like the Jews have a that and what, make us a tree that we can hang our weapons on, like they have a tree to hang their weapons on. You said to me, like the people of Musa said to Musa, make us idols like they have idols. Immediately, the answer was like this. So as we see right now, we're dealing with belief. So the answer might seem kind of, head on. But when we get to other matters, inshallah ta'ala, we'll see that there is some room and some leniency. And this is the mercy of the ulama. I remember reading, I believe it was Encyclopedia Britannica. But anyway, it was an encyclopedia set. And inside they have a section on Ibn Taymiyyah. People have to know these things. And they said Ibn Taymiyyah, this is the people who wrote the encyclopedia, and this is a non-Muslim encyclopedia, that he was from the most merciful of the people to the people. While he did not allow an innovation that was not part of the religion, which many people might deem to be harsh, at the same time, he did not make anything prohibited that the legislation did not make prohibited. So we find that even though some things might be head on, kind of harsh, then this is because of the severity of them. And when it's time for leniency and being lax, then we'll find that they're the most lenient and merciful and lax of the people. Inshallah. Sorry for the rant. Fadl ya Aba Yusuf.
The next one, 17. Okay. Is it permissible to place a piece of cloth, leather, or similar to that upon the belly of a child whilst it is of suckling age or older? We in the South do this to small children as well as adults. I hope for information concerning this. This is interesting. I've never heard of this before. So let's see what the permanent committee said. That'll be interesting.
The permanent committee, may Allah have mercy on them, protect them. They said, if it is intended by placing this cloth or leather, that which is intended through amulets of inducement of benefit or repulsion of harm, it is forbidden, and it could even be shirk. I'll read that again. If it is intended by placing this cloth or leather, that which is intended through amulets of inducement of benefit or repulsion of harm, it is forbidden, and it could even be shirk. Whereas, if it is for a correct purpose, such as preventing the navel of the child from rising or supporting the back, then there is no harm in it. May Allah send peace and blessings upon our Prophet, his family, and his companions.
Yeah, subhanAllah, because it's not clear, is it, from the question whether it's the intention for which this piece of cloth or whatever it is being placed. It's not clear. So, subhanAllah, the ulama, the one who answered, broke it into two and said, if you're doing it for a dunyawi reason, something from the dunya, khalas, la bats. If you're doing it for a religious reason, these are the preconditions.
And this is what I was just saying, of how merciful they are for us. They didn't just answer, as if it's shirk, leave it alone. They answered it. If it's for this, then it's this. If it's for that, then it's that. Maybe you don't know about a piece of cloth or a leather, maybe on the belly of the child, but you may have heard, having a family from Southeast Asia area, and some people, they put a red bracelet, a red string on the baby. They put different things, they put a red string, some people hang up the blue eye. There's many different things that people do which could fall under this if it's meant to prevent something, and if it's just like they said, to prevent the navel from popping out or such, then inshallah, no problem in that.
SubhanAllah.
But there are many different things. You know, we have a lot of people from different countries in Africa in our masjid in America, and they would do certain things. And my wife is from Bosnia. You know, she would tell me about different things that they do to the baby to try to protect them. Allah musta'an. Allah musta'an.
Yeah. SubhanAllah.
Let me see. Yeah, question 18, huh?
Okay. We have heard that there are certain beliefs stating that marriage, circumcision, and other similar matters are not permissible during the months of Safar. We hope that you can inform us in accordance to the Sharia concerning this. May Allah protect you.
Again, by the permanent committee. They say all praises be to Allah alone, and may his blessings and peace be upon the messenger, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his family and his companions. To proceed, the aforementioned of not marrying or not performing circumcision in the month of Safar is a type of superstition, and the seeing of evil omens in months, days, birds, and other such animals. This is not permissible due to the hadith narrated by Al-Bukhari and Muslim upon the authority of Abu Huraira radiallahu anhu that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "There are no contagious diseases, nor are there any bad omens from birds, vermin, or Safar." He specifically mentioned Safar. The seeing of the month of Safar is an evil omen and is a type of evil omen seeing that is forbidden. It is from the deeds of the days of ignorance, and Islam has falsified it. May Allah bless and send peace upon the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his family, and his companions. Alhamdulillah, I'd never heard of this before. I never heard of.
No, I'd never heard of it.
So inshallah, if it exists still amongst us, which obviously it is in our lifetime, this question was probably asked and answered. However, it's not something that's very common that I've seen. And so inshallah, and it also could be something that people keep amongst themselves, that they just don't get married during that month or don't have circumcision during that month. It could be something they just keep to themselves. But inshallah, since we haven't seen it in the many, many years we've been Muslim, hopefully it's for the most part eradicated, if not completely.
Yeah, I think there are a lot of things that I like. You said your Muawiyah is from Bosnia, or Yusuf, she's from Indonesia, and I mean, the Indonesians, mashallah, amazing people, but there's a lot of different groups. There's so many Muslims in Indonesia, so there's a lot of different groups, and you see a lot of practices that people do, and when you ask them, as I was growing up as a Muslim, I would ask a lot of questions and say, why are you doing that? What's the basis for that? Because as a new Muslim, that's what you have this ability oftentimes to be a bit more dare I say objective. I'm using that word very cautiously, but so you come from a position of, look, I'm new here, I want to know why. It's okay for me to ask, whereas maybe someone from that culture would struggle to ask, why are we doing this? You can't ask that question, you've been doing it since you were a babe. Do you know what I mean? So I asked a question, and quite often the answer would come, I don't know, this is what we always did. My teacher always taught us like this. I mean, okay, your teacher taught you, fine. How did they teach you? Did they teach you it was from a particular book? No, I mean, it's my teacher. I just accepted what they said. So this is the thing, when we step back and look at for me, something like this, what I would do personally is I would go, I've never heard of that. I'd go and look online. I'd maybe ask the sheikh. I'd maybe discuss with you or, some of the other brothers, and we come to an understanding. It's probably, not from the Sunnah. But a lot of people that grew up in Indonesia, Pakistan, Bangladesh, other certain parts of the world where almost everyone's a Muslim, these are things which they just consider part of their religion, even though, and they probably don't question it. This is the danger with mixing culture with Islam. SubhanAllah, and just thinking out loud, just thinking out loud.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. It's the danger of mixing culture with Islam. And if you notice, I don't know if you've paid attention to a I don't know if I've seen it coming out of England so much, but I've seen it coming from America, that there's a big push almost against the adoption of Arab culture. As if, and one of the quotes is, we can keep our culture as long as it doesn't go against Islam and things like this, which of course is true. But but it's definitely more so true, say, coming from Indonesia. You don't have to wear a Kuwaiti dish dasher in Indonesia. You might even look funny wearing it there. You might need to wear their izar and long shirt or something to blend in. Allahu alam, you know. Whereas in America, who are you blending in with? You're blending in with the kuffar. Is that who you're blending in with? Now, I'm not saying you have to wear a Kuwaiti dish dasher. You can wear a Malaysian outfit, but you need to be wearing a Muslim outfit. You need to be wearing some type of Muslim, having some type of Muslim identity, even in our clothes, even in our dress. Umar radiallahu anhu spoke against that. And Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah, he's got a really good book, Iqtida Sirat al-Mustaqim, which was partially translated in a bad way many years ago, printed by Dar es-Salaam, called The Right Way, or The Right Way. But it's not a good translation. It's not accurate. It's abridged and it's like kind of chopped up. But I believe someone recently printed the whole thing. I think Dar es-Sunnah out of England has printed the whole book. If you order it, let me know. I want a copy, huh? we can ride on the shipping, inshallah.
I used to have I still have a friend, a brother that kind of introduced me to Salafiyya, actually, and he used to come to visit us. I mentioned this before, and the brother used to come up from London wearing a thobe, like a short thobe, and he had his boots on and everything, and he had his prayer cap and stuff like this. And I used to respect that, man, because it's not easy, especially in London. Some people see you like that, and it's tough. But his position on that was, I want to differentiate myself. I want to show people that I'm a Muslim. I'm not going to ram it down anyone's throat, but this is me, and I respect that a lot. It's tough to do. In Indonesia, they don't wear clothes like this, but you can tell the religious people from the non-religious people. They usually have a shirt which goes below the kind to the mid knee. The mid thigh.
Mid-thigh.
It covers up the kind of the aura, and the trousers will be loose fitting and kind of above the ankle and quite baggy. And then they'll usually have some kind of a cap on. And a lot of Indonesians, they can't, subhanAllah, they can't grow too much facial hair. A lot of them, not all of them.
No.
And so they'll have like a little, but it's like you can very much see it's easy to differentiate the people. Yeah, it's still, subhanAllah.
MashaAllah. Hello. Tayyib. The next question.
What is the ruling of using certain phrases that one of the parents of a disabled child might say to him in acceptance of this divine decree? Interesting.
Let's see something here real quick. Let's see. Sometimes the translation is kind of awkward, as if this person was definitely a second language English speaking person, maybe. ما حكم استخدام بعض العبارات التي قد يقولها أحد والدي الطفل المعارق للاحتجاج على هذا القدر? And basically, what is the ruling of using some phrases which one of the parents might use of a disobedient child to get him to accept the divine decree? I don't know if that's any clearer. What is the ruling of using certain phrases that one of the parents of a disabled child might say to him in acceptance of this divine decree? I guess there's certain phrases they might say. Anyway, he says, Sheikh Ibn Jibreen, he says, there is nothing to prevent speaking to a disabled child with words that might lighten his sadness. Similarly, there is no harm in one of them saying to the people such words as, "This is the decree of Allah and that which He has created," or "There is no reversing that which He has destined and decreed," or "We are pleased with His decree," or "Whatever Allah wills is that which He does not, whatever Allah wills is, and that which He does not will is not," or "Allah has decreed, and whatever He wills, He does. So there is no reversing His decree, and there is no reviewer of His verdict," or "He creates whatever He wishes as He wishes." So He has distinguished between His creations, meaning Allah has distinguished between His creations, so that His blessings may be recognized, and those who are healthy may give thanks to Him and acknowledge His bestowments upon them. The parents may be afflicted with sadness at the birth of this disabled child who is deficient in His creation, but it is obligatory upon them to be pleased with the decree and the fate of Allah the Most High. It is forbidden to oppose Allah concerning His creation and to become angry at His bestowments. Instead, a person should have patience and content himself so that he may be bestowed a great reward for his perseverance, endurance of harm, tiredness, and hardship, and in this there is much good.
SubhanAllah, it's when you read that, I'm just thinking of the benefits of living amongst like the Muslims, the Muslim community. Because if you're living in a country like the UK or the US, you know, you might be talking to someone who's a non-Muslim, and they'll tell you, you know, the advice they give you will usually be non-religious. But with the Muslims, like especially, like I was thinking, especially about Egyptians, you know, I have a story where there was a driving instructor that came to Kuwait, British guy, and you know what us Brits are like with rules and regulations and driving and stuff like that. We're a bit stiff. So this guy, he was
Just
teaching
with rules and regulations and driving.
Yeah. We're very stiff, you know. So this guy, he comes over and he was teaching a group of people. Most of the people there were Egyptians. And he asked a question about seatbelts. He said, "Most of you guys over here, you don't wear your seatbelts. You don't care about your seatbelts." Now, personally, I wear my seatbelt, and I think it's a part of tawakkul in the car. And you put your seatbelt on, it's a part of, you know, trying to use the devices in the car, you know, work with the causes to protect yourself from something which is out of your control, possibly. But if you've got a seatbelt on, the chances of you know, not coming to harm are much greater than you know, la samahullah, may Allah protect us all. Anyway, so he asks one of the guys in the room who happened to be an Egyptian. He said, because the guy was like, "Yeah, seatbelt, man, it's difficult, you know." Yeah, he didn't want to wear it. So he says, "You know, what would you do?" And he starts talking about the family and says, "You know, if your family's in the car and, you know, you have an accident or one of your family members passes away," and the guy just looked at him and he says, "If Allah wants to do something, He's going to do it." You know, this was his position. And all of the other people in the room were like, "Yeah, khalas, yani, we all have to die. Nobody knows their time." And the guy got so angry. He was like, no, you have to do it, you know. And this just goes to show you, you know, the spirit, you know, of the Muslims. Khalas, natawakkal ala Allah. It's a beautiful thing, you know, when everyone around you is telling you, you know, trust in Allah, trust in Allah, trust in Allah. You know, it builds your iman to be in this kind of an environment, as opposed to, you know, if you weren't in one of those, in an environment, you're in an environment of in the West where they're giving you every advice other than, you know, trust in Allah. Do you know what I mean? Does that make sense?
No, for sure. Yeah. I remember when I first came here in 2009 and 10, one brother said, "You could tell Allah loves the Muslims because if you just look at the traffic, how not more people die than do, subhanAllah."
Yeah, subhanAllah, man. Especially here in Kuwait, it's like sometimes I think to myself, man, it's like people want to be movie stars or something when they're driving their cars, you know. I don't know.
They want to be film stars as much as they're filming and stuff on their phones while they're driving.
Yes. No, but subhanAllah, you know, you have to give, like, okay, it's not good that people use the mobile phones when they're driving. And this is not permissible. This is very dangerous. Lakin, I am, as you said, amazed at people's ability over here to use their phones and drive without crashing at the same time. It's almost like, man, it's yeah,
No.
it's a skill, huh? It's not a good one. I'm not saying you should do it, but I'm just saying it's. You see people in the mirror behind you. It's like this guy's not even looking at the road for the last 10 seconds. How is he not crashing? It's amazing. Allah. May Allah protect us all.
I mean, next question, brother. What we got?
What is the ruling of the saying of some people? Children are beloved ones of Allah. Maybe this is better in Arabic, I guess.
Yeah, in
There's probably a
Arabic it
phrase
says,
in Arabic which is
"Al-atfal ahbab Allah." ما حكم قول البعض الأطفال أحباب الله. Probably a phrase common amongst,
yeah. There's probably
people
like
just speaking
something
Arabic.
which is maybe there's probably an implication with that phrase that we're not aware, or I'm not aware of anyway.
No, I'm as well. It says, Sheikh Fawzan, rahimahullah, wa hafidhahullah, he says, it is not permissible to affirm that a particular person is the beloved one of Allah, except with a proof. Rather, Allah loves every believer and everyone fearful of Him. The Most High has said, Wallahu waliyul mu'mineen, and Allah is protector of the believers. And He said, Inna Allaha yuhibbul tawabin wa yuhibbul mutatahhirin, that verily Allah loves those who turn to Him in repentance, and He loves those who are clean, or who purify themselves. And He also says, Inna Allaha yuhibbul muttaqin. Indeed, Allah loves those who have taqwa, or who are fearful of Him. The end of his fatwa. So I think maybe, this could maybe be said, like you said, I'm not familiar with it, but maybe when, someone has a child, maybe someone says this to him, or maybe if someone says something about having so many children or something, maybe someone could make a general statement, Al-Atfal Ahbab Allah, the children are the beloved ones of Allah. Or maybe if they see someone yelling at a child or something, then they might say this to them, that person who's yelling. I don't know, just the thought, making a general statement, look, the children are the beloved ones of Allah. Why are you yelling? Or why are you complaining? Or something like this. I don't know. But the case goes that Allah knows best whom He loves specifically and not. And He didn't tell us that He loves the atfal.
Yeah. No, there's like in Indonesia, they say they refer to people who have passed on as al-marhum. But
No.
I mean, I never say anything because, you don't like from hikmah, you don't want to, like if someone's child has just passed away and they refer to them as al-marhum, you don't want to go saying, well, maybe he's not, you don't want to do that.
No.
It's not like, but I don't think you're basically saying Allah has had mercy on this person. It's like, no, we should say, may Allah have mercy. Even the shuyukh, even the ulama, when they pass away, we say Allah yarhamu.
No.
We don't refer to them as al-marhum, even though we hope that for them.
Man, we ask Allah to have afu on them, and we ask Allah to forgive them. We ask Allah even after they passed away for our major scholars. Ghafurallahu wa afu anhu. We ask Allah to have mercy on them, and we don't say that anyone is like this. Marhum.
Yeah, that's for Allah.
That's definitely and this is a belief that we find. At least I do in America. Almost every Christian will tell you once their family member dies, they're looking down on us from the sky right now. They'd be happy with you. I'm sure they're pleased with you. And I did this with my grandma. I know you said that, you wouldn't tell somebody else. I remember when my grandma passed away and my mom and them were like, oh, but she'll watch over us. And I said, how do you know this? I mean, you claim to be a Catholic. You believe in heaven and hell. Who is hell for? Anyone besides your family? Anyone besides everyone goes to heaven. Everyone is looking down on us and is pleased with us and is this and that. I haven't heard anybody you say yet, I don't want any of them to be. Okay, you don't want them to be, but you don't know where they're at. You have to defer that information to Allah Azza wa Jal.
Yeah.
Same as this question here, you know.
The other one is they're at peace now. They're at peace now. May they rest in peace.
Rest in peace.
Like,
I saw a fatwa about telling someone R.I.P. We don't know that. Rest in peace. We don't know that, you know. We can't say that.
This is the thing though. It's like us, like we like to question. Well, let's question that. Where did that come from? What's the origin? But when you actually do that, people quite often will push back and that because it's from the culture, you know. Like I don't accept that it's from my culture. They don't really know why they're not accepting it. But then once they've committed to not accepting it, they continue down that road. And if you keep pushing them, they'll get even more, you know. So there's times when you have to kind of just say, this is not the right time to bring this up. But you're absolutely right.
No,
I wish people would reflect a bit more.
I mean, tell you. Next question. We got 2 more today. Inshallah.
Okay. Just waiting for, there we go. Question 21. Is it permissible to pray behind an imam who writes amulets for people? Also, if there is a drought, he orders the people to buy sheep or a cow so that it may be sacrificed and eaten by children in order that it may rain. And is it permissible to pray behind an imam who makes vows and sacrifices to other than Allah the Most High? Subhanallah, Allahu Akbar. Man, I wonder where these questions, it would be nice to know like where the questions come from. Are these from the Arab world or are they from like other parts of the world? Because
the permanent committee, again, they said all praises for Allah alone, and may the salat and salam be upon the messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his family and his companions, to proceed. It is permissible to pray behind the one who writes amulets that consist of the Quran and legislated invocations, although it is not befitting that he should write them, as it is not permissible that they should be worn. Whereas, if the amulets consist of shirk, then the one who writes them is not to be prayed behind, and it is obligatory to clarify to him that this is shirk. It is incumbent upon the one who has knowledge of this ruling to clarify it to him. Vowing by other than Allah is shirk. Sacrificing to other than Allah is also shirk, due to his saying, Subhanahu, وَمَا أَنفَقْتُم مِّن نَفَقَةٍ أَوْ نَذَرْتُم مِّن نَظْرٍ فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ يَعْلَمُ. And whatever you spend in charity and whatever you vow, verily Allah knows it. And he, the Most High, has also said, قُلْ إِنَّ صَلَاتِي وَنُسُكِي وَمَحْيَايَ وَمَمَاتِي لِلَّهِ رَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ La sharika lah. Say, verily my prayer, my sacrifice, my life, and my death are for Allah, the Lord of all the worlds, the Lord of all creation. There is no partner unto him. And the Prophet ﷺ, he said, may Allah curse the one who sacrifices to other than him. It is not narrated from the Prophet ﷺ that he ordered in times of drought that a sheep or a cow be bought, sacrificed, and then fed to children in order for it to rain. This deed is an innovation, and there is no foundation for it in the pure Sharia. What is legislated in such times is the Salatul Istisqa, the prayer for rain, making dua, making repentance, and the giving of charity to the poor. It has been verified from him that he, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, said, he who performs a deed that is contrary to our affair will have it rejected. And success is with Allah, and may he bless our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his family, and his companions.
SubhanAllah. Yeah, I was. And is it permissible to pray behind an imam who makes vows and sacrifices to other than Allah the Most High? I mean, yeah, from what I understand, from my limited understanding, I mean, this someone who does that is not inside the fold of Islam anymore. So yeah, I mean, how can you pray behind someone who's not? I'm not like we're not people that pronounce takfir on others, willy nilly, but someone who's making vows to other than Allah, sacrifice. I mean, come on, this is subhanallah.
I mean, we've seen here
concerning ignorance in the ummah. If people are asking questions like this, it's quite worrying. But
no, we see here in Kuwait, since I've been here, man, people have bought a house and sacrificed the sheep in front of it for like the house, to protect the house. We've seen people here buy a car and sacrifice and wipe the blood on the car. Sheikh Salim has done some videos about this some years ago. You know, because people would put the videos up on YouTube like happy and showing what they did. You know, we've seen where the emir or a king or a prince or whoever it might be in whatever country might come home from, you know, an operation or from a long trip. And when he comes home, the people on the road will sacrifice animals along the road, showing them that they're sacrificing this animal for their return and stuff. And all of this, wallahi, we asked Sheikh Falah about it, rahimahullah. He said, this is shirk, you know, to sacrifice an animal on the road for the emir. This is not something, this is shirk. This is not something you did for Allah. You did it for this person. You did it to show this person. Even if you end up eating the meat, you know, you did it for this person. You didn't do it for Allah Azza wa Jal. And, you know, we're not commanded to do that. Now, if you sacrifice and invite the emir, or you sacrifice and have some people come over and share the meal, that's one thing. But to take it out on the roadways and show the emir, the king, the prince, whatever it is, that you're sacrificing this animal, then this is all from the shirk. And we see this even in our times. SubhanAllah.
Ghulu fi ad-din, subhanallah.
No, like you said, ignorance. I read something.
That's interesting that Sheikh Falah actually called that shirk.
No.
That's interesting because if, like, with my massively limited understanding, I would have said, inshallah, they're saying Bismillah, Allahu Akbar when they slaughter it. But if Sheikh Falah said it's shirk because you're doing it like for him on the road, then yeah, I mean, subhanallah, that's quite frightening.
No, I read a statement the other day about reading Fatawa. And it said books of Fatawa and like books of fiqh, reading them is so beneficial, but especially reading the books from your time, right? Or like you can tell when the author wrote the book, say he died in the year 750, or he died in the year 450, he died in the year 1100, like this. You could tell from these books the level of the religion of the people.
Yeah.
And you can see from these questions the level of the religion of our people today. SubhanAllah.
What do you think of the just talking about books of fiqh? What do you think about the book that Sheikh Uthman was given by Abu Abdullah? Is this which book is this? I think
Shar al-Mumti' Shar al-Mumti' ala Zad al-Mustaqni'. It's 15 volumes by Sheikh Uthaymeen. Extremely beneficial.
Is it like a more modern book of?
It's from Sheikh Uthaymeen. It's from our time, but his
right. It's not a sharh of an old book or something.
Zad al-Mustaqni is from around, I want to say, 1000 or 1100 Hijri, somewhere in there, and then Shar al-Mumti is, written 50 years ago, 60 years ago, 50 years ago, maybe 40. He's passed away now 21 years. So 50, somewhere in there, 21 years. So 19, 20. So he wrote it before that.
I saw online, I think it was on Instagram or something. There was a picture of Sheikh Uthaymeen, rahimahullah ta'ala, when he was a young man.
No.
And man, subhanAllah, he had, I don't know how to describe his face. It was very, very handsome, but like, I don't know how to explain it. Like extremely, you could see in his face of some kind of extreme approach. You could approach him. I don't know whether they call this nur or what you call it, but I was kind of, I can't explain it. I was like struck by his the way he looked, because I'd only ever seen pictures of him when he was a lot older. But subhanAllah, man, subhanAllah, may Allah have mercy on him.
But it's definitely a good book you should get. There's possibly you can go somewhere in Firdaus, if you know where Firdaus is. Firdaus or Andalus.
Zahabi?
Yeah, but I'm saying there's a place in Firdaus or Andalus, I can't remember right now, that maybe if you went there, you could maybe get it for free, maybe. But definitely, it's available in Dahabi now.
Khalas, we need to talk after this, man.
Last question for the day, inshallah.
My wife used to pray until she gave birth to our first child. She then lazed away from the prayers, claiming that any woman who gives birth is absolved of all her sins due to her suffering of labor pains. So how would you advise her? SubhanAllah.
Sheikh Uthaymeen, he says, this is not true. A woman is like the rest of the children of Adam. If she is afflicted by such pains or disasters, has patience and hopes for reward, she is surely rewarded. This recompense is to such an extent that the Prophet ﷺ gave the example of a thorn. If it were to prick her, that would wipe away some of her sins. Know that the calamities that befall a person, if he has patience and hopes for the reward from Allah, then he is also rewarded for his patience and hope, even though the origin of this disaster was a forgiveness for his sins. So disasters absolve sins under all circumstances. If they are met with patience, the person is rewarded due to this patience that he has displayed in the face of calamity. There is no doubt that a woman during childbirth suffers pain and discomfort. This pain absolves her sins. So if she has patience and hopes for reward from Allah, then along with this atonement of sins is an increase in her reward and good deeds. And Allah knows best.
SubhanAllah. Yeah, I actually, alhamdulillah, was with my wife for all 5 of the kids, and SubhanAllah, yeah, it's not an easy thing. So
No.
I guess a woman has a lot of sins removed during this process.
No.
SubhanAllah, yeah, and not so much that. I mean, you talk about like people and they don't believe. People that don't believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they say that there's nothing there, it's just like fairy tales and stuff like that. But subhanAllah, yani, I saw it with my own eyes, the connection between the mother and the child. There's like, for example, the wife can be sleeping, okay, and the baby will start feeling hungry and moving. The woman will start lactating. There's no physical connection. It just starts happening. So there's something going on. We don't know what it is. Allahu musta'an. Allahu alam. Sorry. But this kind of stuff, man, I saw it with my own eyes. And as you grow up, the connection the mother has with the child is different to the connection the father has with the child. It's fascinating, subhanAllah.
No. SubhanAllah. Yeah. I was present when Muawiyah was born. She went into the hospital on Monday. They had to induce her because when they were going and writing the chart down, they would say, okay, he's 38 weeks, he's 39 weeks, like this, and then after 39 weeks, next week should have been 40. And they came back and said, man, you're 42 weeks the very next week, 39 to 42, something's wrong. So we got to go in. Either we're off or something's wrong. So they induced her, and we went to the hospital later that day. And Wednesday night, Thursday morning, Wednesday night, it was so bad. She was dilated to 10, and he still wouldn't come out. You could see the little ball of his head and stuff, but he just would not come out. And so I said, finally, give her the epidural and do the C-section, man. She can't take this pain. She's been here 3 days already, I don't know. So we took her in there, and they let me come in there, and I said, can I see? And I looked at it. It was neat, seeing her stomach all out and everything. It was nice.
Yeah.
I was able to go over there and cut the umbilical cord, and I was the first one to hold them. But just think about the pain they went through up to that point that we don't even think about.
No. No.
We don't even think about
No.
the sleepless nights, the throwing up, the fevers, the headaches, the pimples, the all that pain that she gets absolved from her sins. And if she's patient for, as the Sheikh said, then she gets extra rewards. SubhanAllah, we don't even think about that.
No,
And you can
there's
go on YouTube now and see where they have devised these like electrodes that they put on men. Have you seen those videos?
I've seen them. Yeah, I've seen them.
And
I
they
don't
test
know
them
how
for, like,
they
menstrual
know.
cycle.
I
They
don't know
test
how
them for,
they
like,
know.
well, if for instance, the last one I saw was they put like menstrual cycle pain, and they put it on a woman, and she said, "Yeah, this is what I feel." So if she feels that,
Mm.
and then he feels it, then you know what I mean. Then this is how they could do it. So I mean, she was like, "Yeah, this is normal. This is what I feel every month," and the guys were like in suffering. So I'm assuming it could be somewhat similar in childbirth.
Maybe, yeah. No, when you see the contractions, and like you said, if you're dilated at 10 for 2-3 days, I mean, that's like, it's absolute agony. I mean, with our last one, I mean, my wife, she was exhausted. I mean, pushing, and with the contractions, the pain of the contractions is like extreme, apparently.
Yeah, I stayed right by my wife the whole time, and my mom and my dad, they would go to work and come back, and my dad cuts grass, and they would leave and come back and leave and come back, and like this, and my dad came in one day, probably Wednesday morning, or I don't know, could have been Tuesday, I don't remember. He said, "You're not looking so good," to Muawiyah. I said, this is my dad, I said, "Fool, she looks better than you on your best day. What are you talking about?" I was so mad.
But they say,
how you gonna say that?
They say some it's like some women, they're like, when in the UK, when with Yusuf, the midwife actually told us, they said, make sure you cut your wife's nails before she goes in. And some ladies, that you don't know how they're going to react to the first baby. When it gets really painful for them, they can turn like really aggressive. So she's just telling me from my experience, this sometimes happens. And the person who usually gets blamed is the husband, because he's like standing next to her, holding her hand. He says, I've seen men like almost have their arms broken because the woman's going through so much pain. She grabs like the hand tightly like this, which is why I'm telling you to cut her nails. And she starts moving around and stuff like this. And I've seen men getting thrown around. And so, that was...
Almost done.
It's easy for us, man. It's easy for us, to be honest. When I saw that, it's easy for us. No. We don't have to do anything. And then the rest of the life, the emotional connection that the woman has to the child is... I don't know. This is just my opinion. I'm not talking from any spiritual, religious, or anything. I just see that the connection that the mother has with the child is much, I don't know, stronger, much more powerful, almost than that of the father. I don't know what you think about that. If you put that in a different way, but
I definitely believe. I hear that from everybody. But me, I had a little bit different situation since Muawiyah was born. Like, she had a hard time, so I would change him. For probably, the first 6 months, she probably rarely changed him, like rarely. And I mean, like I said, I was the first one to hold him, first one to, after the doctor, when he took him out, I was the first one to hold him, cut the umbilical cord, took him to my parents. I was changing them, dressing them, bathing them, you know what I mean? The only thing I never did was cut his nails, because I was scared to to hurt him. And his relationship, due to my attitude, his relationship with her, he'll talk to her more, he'll open up to her more. But if it comes down to like, who do I love, man? He loves me more, man. SubhanAllah. And she's like, you just smacked him, you just yelled at him, you just did this, you took away everything, and he still loves you more. I don't understand it.
Subhanallah. No, I'll never forget the changing. We call them nappies. We don't call them diapers. Or diapers, whatever you want to call them, the nappies.
Yeah.
But I remember that the really interesting thing is when the child is breastfeeding, that stuff doesn't smell, man. But the second you give them like formula milk or non-breast milk, it starts smelling really bad. And that was when it became difficult, for me. But yeah, I think I'd say like 50-50, me and my wife, we were changing the diapers or the nappies. But it's all good, man.
Man,
So good.
and that's just further eraser, removing of sins and raising of status if we're patient with it, And so may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have mercy on the mothers and not cause them or us to let any of the difficulties and hardships that we endure cause us to leave salat. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us of those who stick and adhere to the salat properly, because this is a serious matter. And the Sheikh, he answered it in a nice way.
No.
With that, I mean, we don't have any questions from the viewers we have, and next week, inshallah, we'll begin to talk about naming. What's the time to name the child? Who has the right to name the child, the mother or the father? Is it permissible to have a celebration for naming the child? Naming the child with something that has abd around abd in it, right? And naming the changing names because they're not compatible with zodiac signs. Allah musta'an.
SubhanAllah.
What is the ruling of names such as that are the names of Allah, like Kareem and Aziz? Do we have to put abd in front of it, or can we just name them Kareem and Aziz without abd? What is the name Abdul Harith? And so on, inshallah. That's the next chapter that we'll be going over with Allah's permission. We'll welcome everyone, and please tell your family and your friends that we are having these and cause them to benefit. And if they can't listen live, then at least share with them the video so they can watch later, inshallah ta'ala.
Yeah, I think it would be great if when you get some interaction with people, I know to be honest with you, even for me, just reading these and discussing with you is beneficial for me personally. So alhamdulillah. But I mean, the more people that would watch and interact with us, the better it would be, I think. So inshallah, if whoever's watching this, whoever does watch this, share it, then join us, next week, inshallah.
For sure. With that, we'll conclude, and we'll see you next week. Bismillah. Subhanaka Allahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.